and they're not following through with their original
Manipulated
agreement.
by whom?
She broke these laws.
She being whom?
They're-
Ma'am, I'm gonna have to stop you because I'm not clear what you're talking.
Well, I think that there's a
I'm as lost as you are with this, Judge. Ms. Malik has called my office and left over 120 voicemails. She's made threats against my bar license. She's made threats against my family. She's made threats against my office staff.
why am I?
Ma'am, you have interrupted me numerous times.
I'm sorry.
That needs to stop.
Could you please a little courtesy where this is concerned, please?
You've not granted me any courtesy in terms of your talking. Why should I grant you any?
Get ready for this one, guys. It's wild. A full-blown Karen storms into Judge Simpson's courtroom acting like she owns the place. She's loud, disrespectful, and keeps running her mouth even after the judge snaps back multiple times. You'd think that would be enough to make her dial it back, but nope. She just keeps throwing shade like she's arguing with someone on Facebook. The kicker, she's in court because she's a squatter refusing to move out. Judge Simpson finally has enough and kicks her out, but honestly, I would have done it way sooner. What do you think? Was the judge too easy on her? Let me know in the comments. All right, let's jump right in and watch Judge Simpson put this out-of-control Karen.
I have been in a very horrible assaultive position.
Okay, let me
left your
hold on a second.
Okay.
State your name for the record.
Danette Mellick.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Mellick.
Well, I entered your courtroom honorably last year at this time. I came in as a plaintiff.
Okay.
And when I swore in, I gave some information about one company, Akram Rashid, merging with a new owner. At that time, I, the customer, was not given the respect, nor any other tenant in my building, underneath the laws to meet this person as a consumer. It is of complete responsibility for a new company to acquire the permission of the tenant where money is concerned to enter a good consumer relationship. This did not happen. Time proceeded and this maintenance company decided to enter person's property with no permission, started to manipulate them, stealing possessions, stealing automobiles.
Hey, ma'am, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Is this your motion to set aside the judgment?
Well, I did set it aside, and we met that agreement. An attorney named Kevin Callahan sat in a court with me as a plaintiff. According to the law, there are no attorneys allowed. So I tried to motion in at the end of August because I recognized.
Hold on, no attorneys allowed where?
When I first met with you, Your Honor, I went into a small claims, and I was underneath the impression through the courses of the law that there were no attorneys allowed in a small claim. So something kind of got jangled up. I presented charges.
Ma'am, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, because I want to make sure that I've got everything in front of me. Was there a small claims case?
Yes. And at that time, we made an agreement.
Go ahead.
That after August, which was Akram Rashid's current lease, that there were not supposed to be any changes to, yet that wasn't the case. I would be on a month to month. I raised my right hand. Kevin Callahan, yourself, and I made that agreement. He swore to me, my mother, which then reported it to my banks. I reported it to my private attorneys in New York City that managed my work. And I contacted the courts. I talked to him verbally over the phone from his office in St. Clair Shores. And he stated to me that I swear, you're going to receive that sheet of paper. I waited and I waited and I waited. Spring and summer came to fruition and I called the courts. It's getting, later in the year. Where's the sheet of paper? It was as easy as that. There was no failure of me to make the payment. I still have the finances set aside. I feel like they are trying to retaliate against me.
All right, guys, help me out here. How does it make sense that this woman, who's not paying rent and living on a month-to-month lease, like it's her personal Netflix subscription, is trying to argue retaliation? I'm seriously struggling to understand the logic. This lady is bringing full Chihuahua energy to the courtroom, loud, jittery, and completely convinced she's running the show. It's like she never upgraded from toddler logic. Honestly, age. Doesn't matter. Some people just never grow out of it. And can we take a moment for the poor lawyer at the bottom of the screen? This guy looks like he's living his worst nightmare in real time, co-signing pure nonsense while holding back a scream. Also, quick legal tip. Retaliation only applies if there's a protected action, not when you're just a nightmare tenant with a Wi-Fi password. Let me know in the comments what kind of dog you think she is.
Between the Michigan State Police that were called on numerous occasions by other.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to stop you because I'm not clear what you're talking.
Well, I think that there's a position here where there's charges that he wanted to dismiss, but because he did not fulfill the obligation that he promised me, by August, I was being manipulated and they're not following through with their original
Manipulated by
agreement.
whom?
I, yourself, and Callahan last January coming into February. We sat in the Zoom conference. I presented the paperwork that was unorthodox. of
Judge, if I
one
may,
owner
I
and
have
another
information
owner.
on this. I can.
And this change of ownership will not affect your lease agreement. She put unless otherwise indicated in your current signed lease. Well, unless otherwise means I can't do what I'm claiming I'm going to do. She broke these laws.
She being whom?
EJ Elizabeth Jefferson, who claimed to be a property manager that no one had ever met. There is no legible address. The Attorney General states that she's not a registered or licensed person. The federal offices told me not to be in business with them.
Ma'am,
Yep.
I'm going to tell you right now, you've lost me.
Well, from the very beginning, I presented, the first time I came in to see you, I presented both pieces of paper.
Ma'am, stop for a moment.
Okay.
I had them pull a small claims case involving yourself against Bell Management.
Yeah, they did things
That
that were
was-
illegal. Fair housing.
Ma'am, that was over a year ago. I would like to say I absolutely remember that,
Yeah.
but I don't.
I'm in dismay myself, sir, because I made that agreement with you. I clearly don't allow a judge or myself to be taken advantage of by an attorney's office.
Well, I don't know that I've been taken advantage of.
I believe I have been.
Okay.
I would
that's
not
fine.
enter your courts to present this witness information as very
Ma'am,
assertive.
stop for one
Okay.
moment. Let me hear, I've heard from you for a while. Let me hear from the other side.
Okay.
Mr. Callahan.
Thank you, Judge. Kevin Callahan, P78273, representing Bell Asset Management. The matter that Ms. Malik is speaking of was a previous matter, a small claims matter that was filed against my client in conjunction with a non-payment of rent matter that we filed against Ms. Malik. Those matters have been decided. Those matters are closed. It has no bearing on this matter whatsoever. This current case, Ms. Malik even admitted she's on a month-to-month tenancy. We provided a 30-day notice to Ms. Malik. She never showed up to court, so a default judgment was entered back in October against Ms. Malik. We subsequently filed a writ of eviction. That writ was signed by Your Honor, and now we get this motion to set aside that default 2 months after the default was entered, alleging that no attorney present and it was against her rights. And I'm as lost as you are with this, Judge. There's no basis to set this judgment aside. Ms. Malik is a month-to-month tenant. She has to vacate the property. However, I will say for the record, because I'm not going to let my reputation possibly be besmirched on the record here of doing anything illegal or improper, Ms. Malik has called my office and left over 120 voicemails accusing me of crimes under the federal law that don't exist, made threats against
The
me, my
FBI told
family.
me.
Ms. Malik, I allowed you to speak. Please allow me to speak. She's made threats against my bar license. She's made threats against my family. She's made threats against my office staff. It has been deplorable what my staff has gone through with Ms. Malik over a situation that is a simple month-to-month permit.
All right, guys, help me make sense of this. We've got this high-ranking good reb lawyer saying that our perfectly polished Karen, the one who claims she's never done a single thing wrong in her life, is actually out here threatening him, harassing staff, and flat out refusing to leave the property. How does that add up? It's almost like she was lying the whole time. Shocking, right? Honestly, I just feel bad for people like this lawyer and the landlord who have to deal with human barnacles like this. These squatters have mastered the art of weaponizing tenant rights like it's some kind of legal Pokemon game. They drag their feet, file mountains of nonsense paperwork, and act like they're victims of some grand conspiracy. And the worst part? In some states, you literally can't kick them out without going through months of red tape. It's like dealing with slugs, only louder, more entitled, and somehow protected by laws written before reality TV was even a thing. We're just waiting for that judge.
The property. I never made any threats to anybody's family. I never made any threats to anybody. I did call the office. I asked him for the sheet of paper that he promised. He said he would give me a month to month after August. I said, what is going on? I said, give me the oral confirmation or the written confirmation. And I'm going to continue to pay the money from August onward. I asked your court, I said, may I please have the sheet of paper?
Ma'am.
I did not
Oh,
threaten
no.
anybody.
Okay, fine. I don't know anything about that.
And
I'm not.
if he made an
I am-
agreement about a month to
ma'am,
month,
ma'am.
why am I?
Ma'am, you have interrupted me numerous times.
I'm sorry.
That needs to stop.
I did not threaten anybody.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. Always
Just
two sides to
deplorably
a story.
rude.
But the reality here is you're before the court challenging, you're asking me to set aside a judgment to stay the writ.
She then told me, she flip-flopped with me 3 times. She put another sheet of paper underneath my door, asking me, E.J. Jefferson. She
Ma'am,
She
that
asked
has
me if I
nothing-
abandoned my
Ma'am,
unit.
ma'am.
Then she tried to take the money out
Ma'am,
3
okay,
times
ma'am,
in
I'm gonna,
September
you know
and
what I'm gonna do,
October.
ma'am? Here's what I'm gonna do.
But there was no order.
Ma'am, I'm
She-
gonna pass
She
the matter.
asked me to move
Quit
out.
interrupting me.
Yeah, she's still
Quit
trying to take the money.
interrupting me. That's warning 2. On the 3rd one, I act. You're before the court to set aside the judgment and the writ.
Yes.
So that the record is clear, the judgment was entered for failure to appear at 2 hearings. First one being October 6th, and then on October 20th. I issued of 2023. I issued the judgment.
Because I thought that the month to month would be honored. That's all. That's all that he gave me. It was all the information I went by, was what I was sworn in. When I'm underneath oath, an agreement is made, nothing happened other than me calling his office and asking for that sheet of paper. I diligently, respectfully, and responsibly,
Ma'am, you can have a seat.
Honestly, if I were Judge Simpson, I'd have this Karen doing a 24-hour reality check in a holding cell. Courtroom tantrums don't come with refunds. Let me know what you think of Judge Simpson so far. Are you enjoying this wild ride with me? A like and subscribe would mean a lot. I truly appreciate every single one of you watching. All right, let's jump back in and see how this Karen handles it when things really start to unfold. It's about to get interesting.
Because this is going way far afield. The only issue before me is the order that I issued in October, which was the judgment, and then the writ of eviction.
Well, I failed the October. I don't know how. I got confused. I'm not accustomed to the courts.
Ma'am, but if at any given time, here's what the problem for you, Miss Ma'am, and I'm just going to be blunt about it. That judgment went out from the court shortly after my signing. All right.
Sir, may I ask something of you? Once an agreement is made in court, isn't that you respectfully gave me the month to month. He told me if I dropped the charges on his group, his client would agree to give me a month to month. I mean,
Then you're going to have to file a new claim that alleges that. That's not before me.
that's why I motioned in August.
No, but that is not before me today.
This is how I will state it.
No,
No, wait.
won't.
I
That's
can
not before me.
I can pay the money. There was never a failure. I swear I had the money aside.
They want you out.
The judge doesn't need to repeat himself 1,000 times. This isn't customer service. He's not here to explain eviction law to someone who thinks threats are negotiation tactics. The landlord wants her out. The judge already signed the order, and yet here she is, acting like she's got squatters' rights just because she's the loudest one in the room. And now, after threatening everyone like she's auditioning for a true crime documentary, she suddenly wants to pay up? That's not how any of this works. You can't just bribe your way back into the house you practically set on fire. Honestly, I'm surprised the courtroom microphones didn't file their own restraining order with how much she's been assaulting them. Those poor mics deserve